Hi everybody, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel and welcome to your new moon reading for the new moon in Cancer that's happening right now. So I hope you have a wonderful new moon and I hope that you're enjoying this energy. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, hasn't it been? We've already talked about this in our live session on the 25th a little bit, so I'm not going to get into the politics. But if you have been breathing in the last week, you know that it's been kind of a bumpy ride. And that continued until today. And I hope that the energy today has gotten a little lighter for you. I would like to talk about the astrology with you at this time. And then if we could do an all sign reading using the tarot for every sign, then that would be cool. So yeah, I'm excited that I could be here with you guys, but it's been kind of nuts. On a personal level, everything's been good for me. I've just been very busy in getting things sorted out. But I mean, in terms of things happening in the world and hearing from many people in terms of what's going on, wow, it's been intense. So why don't we talk about that now? And about what we can expect moving forward. And then we'll go into the all sign reading today. So that will be the majority of today's video. Okay, so why don't we take a look first at the chart. So this is your collective astrology for the new moon. The new moon is happening at about 7:50, so in about 20 minutes from now, Pacific time. And it's in the sign of Cancer at 7 degrees. And it's a very nice new moon. All new moons are nice. However, there's some competing energies with it that are pretty intense. We can see right here our friend Lilith is just a degree away. And there's lots of different little angles here and there that are happening alongside this new moon. So I've already put out some content about this. I called it the truth revealer because whenever the sun joins Lilith in the sky, it happens about once a year, a little less than every year, or a little bit more, sorry, just a little bit more than a year. Basically what happens is probably 13 months. Sorry, I did the math backwards. But whenever the sun joins Lilith, and it's not always on a new moon, there's a real addressing all the secrets, all the things that have been kept from you are brought to the surface and clarified. If anything that has been going on around you has had that Lilith malicious, spiteful energy, it's brought to the surface. This is a time when if someone's messing around with you, they better watch out because the truth comes out very, very quickly. So it's illuminated. And this year, this conjunction is happening at the same time as the new moon, which is rare. It doesn't happen every year this way, but this year it is happening in Cancer. And so therefore, that's a huge bunch of energy. As you guys know, I don't talk about the Lilith so much these days. There's a reason for that because I don't want to focus on the negative all the time. However, I kind of bring her back like all the asteroids when there's something important to say. So you see Aries here and, she's brought quite a bit of trouble to us this week. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But the conjunction with Lilith and the new moon, we're seeing a lot of putting cards down on the table. So there's been a lot of, sort of energy of people showing you, sorry, they're upside down. I don't know if that's a bad omen. People showing you where they stand. They put their cards down on the table and then you see what they're for. So the lies or deception or whatever that's going on that's disingenuous is illuminated very quickly here. And I would probably, if I were you, think about long-term things such as betrayal of friends, family members, or coworkers. If there is a continuation of, malicious or deceitful energy, it's going to really come out now. Other ways that this could be illuminated is if for whatever reason you have not been living true to you, this new moon in illuminating the Lilith point will in some way show to you what you're keeping from yourself as well. So if you're hurting yourself by not believing something, by not looking at something, this conjunction could do really good things for you. Now let's go over what Lilith is, because I think it's important for people to just to understand. So this is the apogee of the moon. So the apogee represents the furthest position that the moon is from the earth, right? So it's the far point of the moon. And so it represents this kind of, if the moon represents emotions or the mind, depending on the type of system of astrology you use, it sort of represents the dark point of the moon, the point of the moon that's most in the shadow. So, I would encourage you to kind of look at it that way. So if we tie this transit to world politics, we know what's been going on. Roe versus Wade has been overturned. There's been a lot of really intense stuff going on with politics and laws and the filibuster. There's a lot of wheeling and dealing in politics right now, not just in America, but all over the world. In Canada, the government put forward, the Senate passed a very controversial bill called Bill C-11 that may not be as extreme as Roe versus Wade, but it was not popular with people. Nobody asked them to do it, and they pushed through this bill that essentially censors Canadians' content creators and limits which content Canadians see. So a bit like very strong censorship law. And a lot of people are up in arms about that in Canada. We talked about that a couple days ago, so I'm not going to bore you with it now. But there's this real unraveling of truth. So this is where you stand. Aha, this is where, your position is. And as the sun is coming upon Lilith, she'll create the exact conjunction on the 30th of June. This energy has been with us already, so the sun has already been affecting this position. So this new moon is wrapped up in all of that. The moon is ruled by several different signs. It is in Cancer, which rules the moon itself, so that's powerful. It's in the first decan, which is ruled by the moon in modern astrology. In traditional astrology, it's ruled by Venus, which is now in Gemini. It's not it's a semi-sextile angle, so it's not particularly strong. However, let's get to it now. I was going to tell you later as the silver lining in all this. Venus, the traditional ruler of the first decan of Cancer, is actually in a very beautiful sextile to Jupiter right now. So if the last week has been feeling sort of intense or gloomy, the sextile between Venus and Jupiter is really coming up and giving us a lift and bringing positive energy towards us. So there's definitely, light coming in through the darkness. And in your comments, I've been seeing that kind of stuff, like light coming in the darkness. Suddenly I feel better. So I think that has a lot to do with Jupiter sextile Venus right now, who is the traditional ruler of the first decan of where the moon is. Now, the other things that have been going on or are going on right now is Neptune is stationing retrograde. And like I said in another presentation or somewhere else, Neptune retrograde is this is the part of the truth revealer part. So we have the dark side, not the dark side of the moon, but the apogee of the moon, which means a darker spot where the moon is being illuminated by the sun in this once a year or so conjunction. And then Jupiter is turning retrograde. And when Jupiter stations retrograde, suddenly we're getting a second look at things we may have sugar-coated or looked over, not paid attention to. So Neptune retrograde is an eye-opener as well. So we're getting all sorts of information and downloads. When Neptune stations, direct or retrograde, when it starts moving direct or retrograde, or when it's an aspect, one thing to always remember is that things can get very confusing. There's a lot of information flying around. There's a lot of, various different frequencies for us to pay attention to. So with Neptune transformation transits, station, direct, retrograde, whenever it starts switching direction, I would just really advise that before you come to conclusions, just, pay attention to it. It's going to take some time for things to be clear, but you're already probably getting insights and signals into the things that are happening. So that's important. And that's actually on a pretty loose sextile to the north node and trine to the south node, but it's there, it's still there. So in some way, taking a second look at things could be propelling you forward towards a new path, a new direction, or fine-tuning the direction that you've been on. So pretty powerful position there. And then what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so I was trying to save the Venus sextile Jupiter until the end, but it just came up right away. So, way to go. It's good for love, by the way. So if you're in a loving situation or wondering about love, and especially if you're a fire or air sign, this sextile is really nice for you. The other transit that obviously has come up a lot, which is now kind of ending, is Mars conjunction to Aries. And Aries I've taken out of my chart since Uranus went into Taurus. I used to use her as, she's a minor planet. She's the biggest minor planet in the solar system. And she's on a high inclination of about 44 degrees, which means that on the ecliptic plane, on the plane in which all the planets orbit the sun, Aries is kind of almost at it is at a 44 degree angle, so halfway to a opposite degree, and it's really far away from us, further away than Pluto by a lot. So her transit is actually really slow, and she's been in Aries since 1925. And she'll actually continue to be in Aries until 2044, so still a long time. So pretty much all of us are born with this transit in Aries. It's a huge marker of the 20th century and now the 21st century. And she's closely associated with Mars or Aries. So Mars is the Roman counterpart of Aries, the god of war. And so Aries has many stories in ancient belief systems, but most notably she is associated with strife, with battles, with war. There's a lot to it, but whenever Mars comes in a conjunction with Aries, there is a lot of stuff up in the air and things begin happening. So I didn't want to make huge, nasty predictions with this, but in Aries, which is like the Greek counterpart to Mars, Aries and Eris and Mars are joining, and Eris is the counterpart to Aries in mythology. So she's like the feminine war goddess, right? And so the fact that Mars and Eris come together in Aries, there's like a lot of chance for upheaval and violence and destruction. And so some of the things that have happened when this occurred is the biggest one that I've read about so far. And tell me in the comments if you know something else that I don't, like if you're aware of another situation. But there was 50 people that were found dead in Texas in a truck yesterday morning or this morning. And so this was happening right at the same time as this conjunction. And so the carnage, the violence, to me, it's just impossible to kind of wrap my head around the fact that 50 bodies were found in a truck of migrants, very vulnerable people. The other thing that's sort of shown up a lot right now is the NATO has now announced yesterday that they're increasing the amount of soldiers or their army to 300,000 on the Eastern Front, on the front with Russia. Russia has gone into default for not paying loans. There's a whole cascade of financial and military issues on the forefront. Turkey has now announced that they will back Finland and Sweden into NATO. However, I'm curious why this is happening at the same time as NATO quietly announcing that they're increasing the amount of people on the border to 300,000 from 40,000, troops. That really sounds scary to me. Now, I asked someone who knows a lot about Cold War stuff, and they said that that might be just a standoff thing, like a bravado. But when you consider like the energy issues that are happening because of this war and the consequences on Europe, there's a lot of reasons to assume and wonder why, if everything's going to escalate because of resources. So it's pretty scary stuff. And that's very much Eris and Mars together. So very violent and very overwhelming. One more issue I kind of noticed, this is just reminders, but there's a lot of stuff. There's, with Lilith coming into the conjunction with the Sun, there's been the hearing for January 6th insurrection, and there's been all sorts of things coming out. Ghislaine Maxwell was just sentenced to 20 years in prison. There's a lot of, China has announced its yuan currency to hedge against instability in markets. So there's a lot going on today that is of a warring nature, like bravado, standoff energy. So you might be around that as well. You might be feeling that. Pallas Athena is in a trine to Pluto. Pluto's going to cause problems for us all year. Whenever there's a transit that's about 26, 27 degrees, 28 degrees of Taurus, because this is where the Medusa star is. And so all of these kinds of patterns of injustice that are coming up. Another pattern of injustice that I noticed was that fact that people that are non-Indigenous are using the missing Indigenous women symbol, which is the handprint on top of their face. So people who are protesting Roe versus Wade are using Indigenous symbols to protest Roe versus Wade. And the problem with that is that Indigenous symbols and Indigenous politics oftentimes get overshadowed and steamrolled by other causes that sort of appropriate and take from them these powerful symbols. So there's this powerful symbol that represents missing Indigenous women, and now people that are non-Indigenous are using it for Roe versus Wade protests, which, even though Roe versus Wade protests are justified and incredibly important, it's also very important to not appropriate the symbols of First Nations people who are trying to support their missing people and try to get the word out there. So it's kind of hard to see because people are just running with it. They're using it, and that is definitely a symbol that should be reserved for Indigenous people and that specific cause. And that really touches upon these like old, not old, but like the whole story of Indigenous experiences of being taken from and just appropriated from, and people just taking what they have and using it for their advantage. This is very sad to see people continuing to do that now even though protests against the overturning of Roe versus Wade are necessary, we must do that with the awareness of other causes and not do that, because it does overshadow it, and you know the point is missed then, right? So it's very sad. And so for me, that really represents Pallas Athena and Medusa together, because of course Medusa was said to be persecuted by Athena. Medusa's the outsider that gets pushed to the side. There's also stories about Lilith and how she was, you know, pushed out of certain situations. I don't like to kind of reiterate those myths because they're problematic. But the Lilith is often considered an outsider as well. So there is this energy of, you know, the state, or like the dominant supremacist identity overshadowing the identity of others. So not to get too political, but we're seeing this kind of pattern, and that could be showing up in your life as well, where you feel as though there's, you know, people with more resources or people who have more than you do, using that privilege in order to, you know, silent. And maybe this has been an ongoing pattern. So the Sun, Moon, and Lilith conjunction to me signifies that there could be a chance of some breakthrough here. We're bringing light into the darkness. And so be patient, and then good things may come of it. Just like the sentencing of Ghislaine Maxwell, or, you know, the January 6th new information that came out today. There could be a lot of things that are starting here that are sort of cracking the code. So it might be helpful. The overall pattern, I just want to reiterate, is this Saturn squaring the nodes. It continues to be this way, and it will be that way until November. So it is a bit of a serious energy here that we're with this year. It's a bit of a serious environment from the summer until the fall. But, and especially transits like Jupiter and Venus in a sextile together are bringing positive light to it. This new moon is bringing positive light to it, although maybe not helping the core issues as much. So it is a serious time overall. However, I do feel like there are, you know, breaks in the storm or breaks in the clouds. There could be good things coming up for you. There's hope for the future. It feels like the things that are there already are static and stuck and intense, and the things that are there could be new things coming in that will turn out to be good resolutions for you in the future. So be patient with that. But that's the energy right there. So I did pretty good. I went through it pretty quickly. I hope that it helped you understand some of the energy that's been going on. I have not been around so much, so hi, thank you guys all for being here. If you guys don't mind, now let's take a look how that will affect your sign. And yeah, so let's just get back into it. I do want to kind of remind you guys, I've been away, but I'm coming back now, and I've been back for a while. It's just doing everything one step at a time, but I will be back to regular videos here. And this was supposed to be, you know, like one of the comeback points, but I had a little bit more delays. Just these last couple days, we got hit with a pretty strong heat wave. And I know for America, it's not that hot here, but a lot of people here don't have air conditioning, and we have a very mild climate. And so when a heat wave hits, we're not as prepared as someone in the US, like in New Mexico or Arizona. You guys are much more used to the heat there. So it slowed me down a little bit, but no drama, nothing, you know, nothing crazy. And so I kind of explain through political examples because the writing's on the wall with them. And I think it's very necessary I think what I'm trying to say, or what I suggest, is that you may have felt over the last week a little bit overwhelmed. Things may have come up that were quote unquote nasty, which is the sun with Lilith. It's almost like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings, when you shine a light on him and he's like in the corner, and like, you know, like suddenly you see him for all that he is. I like Schmeagol, by the way, as a character. I think he's cute. But it is that moment of illumination of what is. And so there might be a jump scare in there for you, or there might be something else that kind of freaks you out in your life. But overall, with this new moon, this is necessary. So, you know, people were commenting. I did some other stuff on somewhere else, on the other thing that I post on. And people were saying, you know, like, what do we do? And like, this is so overwhelming. But I think the truth being brought to light is a very helpful thing. I think it's a good thing. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you guys, my nails are kind of janky and I cut my finger. So my Band-Aid just, it is what it is, but it's sitting well. So I didn't want to take it off because I didn't want it to fall off. So sorry about that with my gardener hands. But anyway, so that's all I had to say. It's a good new moon, but it's not without its complications. And it's definitely one in which you get what you need more than what you want with it. So, you know, the old saying that like, I got what I wanted, but not what I needed, or I got what I needed, but not what I wanted. So it's that differentiation. This new moon will give you what you want. So it'll give you the truth that you need. It may not be convenient or comfortable 100%, but once you know, you will not have been lied to. So all the lies that you were living with, they will be addressed or illuminated. If someone, you know, has a begrudging attitude towards you, that will be shown. And then you'll have that data point and you will no longer be foolish interacting with someone who's not worthy of your time and attention. So sometimes it's a hit home. One of the things that someone said in the comments about the about Roe and Wade is it's interesting that it's happening at a time when the sun is in Cancer, the sign of the mother, and Lilith is also in Cancer. So it feels like, and I heard, who did I hear? Was it Kamala Harris? No, I heard Hillary Clinton say that they had been planning to do this for 50 years. They have strategized to overturn Roe versus Wade for 50 years through the selection of particular people to do that. So when you look at it in that light, you understand that this was a strategized, planned, systematic decision-making process, long-term, you know, strategy, long-term chess game. And so right now it really showed up, the cards are on the table. So whoever is showing you personally your cards, whoever is, you know, showing you exactly what they're about, listen, pay attention. And with Mars with Aries, be very wary of any conflict. Although Mars is past Aries now, so since Aries is so far away, we need tighter orbs for it. So, and it's definitely more intense in the applying phase. So now we have a de-escalation. But of course, we've already seen the carnage. We've already seen the violence. There was also a mass shooting in Oslo, I believe. I don't want to misrepresent, but that happened just as this conjunction was happening. With Mars and Aries, I find it's very like blunt force violence, very harsh violence. And so to me, you know, that truck in Texas is incredibly graphic like that. Not that any kind of violence is more or less graphic, but I hope you can see what I'm seeing in it. So, you know, it's intense. And so in terms of the bigger picture, don't pass on what you're seeing. Don't pass on what you're discerning. And I think that it's also very important for us to take note of everybody who's affected, whether they are core or peripheral or marginalized people. And I think there's a strong energy here of focus on how the most vulnerable people in society are affected right now. So whatever it is that's coming up, those are the themes, and these themes, like these people in the truck in Texas, these things will grow and magnify in 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. Those will be issues that will be affecting us all directly. my political view is that it's already affecting us all directly. So me seeing anybody hurt, I feel like is also an attack on me personally, and I believe that. But if you're not of that mindset, I believe that these events that are seemingly only affecting marginalized populations or vulnerable people, you will see these exact things if you write them down and look 10 years ahead. These are the things that are going to be affecting all of us. So there's nuance in all this, and so it's important for us to rise up and pay attention. Don't take things lying down, and really quickly address the issues that are happening. There's also a lot of lies, when you lift something, and I have roly-polies, which are the little bugs. So if you lift a pair of a wood in the garden, all these roly-polies come streaming out. This is the kind of energy with the sun on Lilith and the moon. Suddenly everything, and they scatter and they run away. So we have this glimpse of what's really going on, and so it's important to pay attention and really pay attention. Okay, so that's cool. I like that. I hope that it helps you guys see. I'm not saying that to be negative or pessimistic, but I think it's important for us to, pay attention to what's going on and not turn away from this. So, okay. So why don't we do the sign by sign reading now? I'm excited to do this, and we are going to do it with astrology, so that's extra fun. Why don't we start right now? So we have Aquarius first. So Aquarians, sun, moon, and rising, welcome to my channel. It feels like it's been a long time since we've done this. Before we start, I forgot one thing. So I've been doing these members only videos with members because while I was getting back to be here full time again, I wanted to make sure that the members got their videos in and all of that. So we've been doing this thing called Read the Room, which has been super fun. And I film it live, and then I take it for members only to see. So there's several videos like that. That allows me to be more explicit when I'm talking about the transits. It allows me to speak on things bluntly and clearly without having to censor myself for the purposes of regulations, right? And these are bad regulations. It's just the members only videos are a good workaround for that. So we've been having fun with that, and we are going to continue to do those. And so if you're not a member and you can't be a member for whatever reason, then watch out for the live streams. They pop up and I film them for everybody to see. And then once I film them, then they go straight into members only. So if you're not a member but you want to watch those, I encourage you to, have your notifications on, to just, maybe you'll be around when I'm doing it. So if you see me live, it could be that. So come over and see. The second part of those videos is called Read the Room, which represents just messages for everybody who's present or everybody who's going to be watching it. So it's a pretty fun video. And I've honestly, you guys, I've had so much fun doing those. And it's just been like a lot of fun, a lot less pressure than, speaking to the masses, because it feels like I'm talking to friends. Okay, so now let's talk about Aquarius first. And so thanks for hearing me out and all this. And now let's get into the astrology. So the new moon is happening in your 6th house. But for you, the emphasis continues to be Saturn. It's all about Saturn and Aquarius for you for the rest of the year. There's a lot of personal changes that are coming up for you, Aquarius. There's been a whole energy of catharsis and letting go. And kind of real differentiation from the people around you and the circumstances around you. You want to get away from them. You want to do your own thing. Some of you might be getting real opportunities with money at this time. Things like, buying some real estate. But I think you really need to think on your own terms. You really need to not trust in anyone else. In fact, this new moon for you may actually illuminate how somebody else's input in your life has led to setbacks in the past that maybe even you're working through at this time. So you might be in some way still dealing with the decisions or the choice making of others and their behavior, and that's how that's sat with you or left with you. And so I think that in and of itself, if somebody's like said or done something that's caused you delays, is even more reason for you to want to get away from it all, to not only get away from it all, to do it by yourself, to do it your own way. So don't feel shy, don't feel worried, or don't feel, anxious. Look with your own eyes, listen with your own ears, and go in that direction. Your transit is probably one of the better ones for love right now. This is a fast transit because Venus is going to pass this point very quickly, but the sextile is happening tonight at 9 p.m. exact. That's Pacific time. I always use Pacific time. So perfect sextile, maybe some luck for love. Look around close to home in your neighborhood for that. So it could be very lucky for you. Okay, so why don't we pick some cards for Aquarius? And I do sun, moon, rising. I heard someone ask MC. Yes, MC, your north node in Aquarius, your south node. If you know how to interpret it that way, watch it for that, So maybe we can do some content on that in the future. Page of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries, Five of Swords. And then we have the Two of Cups, which is the reversal, the friendship one. Let's see. And then we have the Nine. There's definitely, I really feel as though you feel a distance or separation from someone who was a friend. And I feel as though you've been set back by their behavior or whatever's been going on. Then we have the Hermit, which is Virgo. You might be choosing to really go on your own at this time. Then we have the King of Wands on the bottom. I have a feeling that there's may have been conflict that has arisen, or just essentially you have in some way felt like really struck back by a situation. But I think that you may have a new friend or someone who you're excited about at this time, particularly close to home. So in your building, if you live in a condo or an apartment, or maybe in your neighborhood, there's someone who is a potentially new friend, something to look forward to. And I do think that you will decide that someone hurt your feelings too much, or something too aggressive happened, and you're going to decide to sort of go on your own and do your own thing, which really ties into the astrology. So good luck with that. It's just like a little message. We'll be back with more soon, okay? So next we have Cancer. Hi Cancer, welcome to this. This is a new moon in Cancer, so I'm glad you get to go soon. Let's take a look. So Sun, Moon, Rising, Cancer, Venus, Mars, North Node, South Node, whatever. So Lilith has been in your first house. First of all, we haven't done a dedicated Lilith video in a while. This is probably coming up because with Roe versus Wade and all of these different things, I just feel like it's become very relevant. So it's coming up strong, so we'll address it. But for a Cancer person, things might have gotten hurtful, honestly. There may have been situations or people saying things that have been hurtful or emotionally distressing for you now. So particularly someone saying something mean to you, or particularly being cruel, really getting in a harsh way towards you. So you may have felt at this time very attacked by others, or felt very vulnerable. So the Lilith transit is twofold. On the one hand, yes, this may be happening where other people are being very critical of you and really getting under your skin. On the other hand, it could be your own conjecture a bit too. In other words, you might be getting a bit sensitive. I'm not one to tell people that their feelings are invalid, but in order for you not to feel bad, like just ask yourself, like, am I being overly sensitive? Because with Lilith there, it could be evoking a lot of sensitive feelings and whatnot. So the new moon itself is at 7 degrees. Listen, if you have anything in the first half of Cancer, that's very good for you. I feel as though you may have been vindicated with something at this time. Vindicated means that, you know, the truth has come out on something in pertaining to you. It could have been like an I told you so moment where somebody wasn't listening to you or was not hearing you out, and now some other situation came up that proved you right. I have a feeling that in work, many of you, look at all this, look at this stack right here, and this isn't like new, but it's been happening. Work may have been turbulent, Cancer, and you may have felt very volatile. There may be, this looks like aggression, if that's been coming up. You do have Jupiter here, so it's going to turn around and it's going to get better. But for the last couple weeks, if it's been feeling crazy, you know, that's what it's at. And so maybe it's making you feel, I feel like maybe like low self-esteem to a degree, or it's getting under your skin, or it's tiring you out to the point that right now you're feeling a little dodgy from it. But with the new moon, like I said, there's a new thing emerging. And so maybe those worn out places and situations that you still have to be in, like the job you need to be in for now or whatever else, maybe if you think of it as the past already, even though you're still doing it, because maybe already something new is beginning. And when Venus enters Cancer, that's going to be very nice for you. So there's going to be a lot of healing energy and a lot of pick-me-up energy. So in other words, we're entering this new moon in Cancer for your sign on a low for you. I would assume some of you guys are coming in on a low, but I think that maybe some better feelings are emerging, better situations, more hopeful. It really feels as though like maybe even people have been nasty to you in your environment. So, you know, rethinking things through with Neptune retrograde, looking at things from a different perspective, that's what's coming up. And I think that if you're preoccupied with harshness right now from other people, I think that you may find that there's a turnaround with that. Okay, so let's see your cards. So we have the Ace of Swords, communication, harsh words being said. The Four of Wands, let's see, Four of Wands. Disturbing your peace of mind, that's what I'm getting. An Ace of Cups. This is looking good though. New relationships and new directions. There's definitely this idea of like shift your focus away from, you know, like just rough people and rough situations towards good things. Love, I didn't really mention it for you here, but Jupiter sextile Venus in your 12th house. That's really nice. And let's see next. Then we have the Nine of Rods. Not being sure where you stand with someone, which is the but I'm getting excited for you in terms of love. It looks as though maybe there's a wait time before you actually see how things play out, but it does look positive for you. There's a strong energy here of leaving something behind, literally moving from the place that you're in towards something new, moving from your job ultimately. It feels like you're around some stale places and stale people, and because they're stale situations, they're kind of rubbing you the wrong way, or they're not too pleasant, they're a bit harsh, and so you're too good for that. Obviously there's better things coming, I'm sure, and I think that it's a shift in focus. Like you're still bringing attention to the old things because you need to deal with them. However, the new things are more important. They'll come up as more important very soon. This could involve changing jobs, changing home, but also maybe waiting to hear back from someone. And maybe there's something starting on an emotional level for you between you and someone else, but it's too soon to tell. So good luck with that. That looks really good, actually. It looks like a bit of a turnaround. And I do get the overall sense that you may be feeling, how does it, you may be feeling like discouraged by how things are, but I think they're getting much better and they will continue to get better. Okay, so here is the next message. We have Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Pisces. Let's take a look at your chart. So hey Pisces, let's take a look at your energies. And so for you, the new moon, that's a very romantic new moon. Listen, if there's been treachery around you in love, meaning if someone cut in on someone you loved, or, you know, a boyfriend got stolen by a friend of yours, or a girlfriend got stolen by a friend of yours, if there's been people lying to the person you like about you, those kinds of things are going to really improve now. And it's very likely that the truth will come out to kind of in some way clear your name. So that's exciting to see in your chart. The other thing is Neptune, your ruler, is stationing retrograde. And so I think that for the next couple days, especially since it's your ruler, expect fuzzy head, confusion. It's going to hit you hard. And with Neptune retrograde for us all, but especially for you, it's a dust settle type of situation, which means you have to wait and see to actually see how things ultimately play out. So be patient with it. Right now, you may not be seeing a lot in terms of what's happening, but then a week from now, you're going to see much clearly, and you're going to see the nuance of what this energy brings. And be very, very careful with money, especially impulsive spending. Although right here, I would almost suggest that you've already spent the money that you were going to spend. So the deed is done, it looks like. So the other thing that could, you know what happened to me? I ordered a book, and I'm not going to say from where, but you know, where everybody sort of buys books at now, because it's what's happened is not cool. Actually, it's a used book. I like buying used books. And so it had the cover of the book I purchased, but inside was a completely different book. It was weird, and it was a used book. So somebody sold the book in that way, and now I have it. So I get to have a refund, but it's just weird that there was another book pasted into the cover of the book I ordered. Different topics, not even close, different authors. But with this energy here in the second house, like there could be like, I wouldn't say that that's a malicious thing that happened. It was just maybe out of rush, somebody didn't check. But how can someone who, it's a used book, right? So it was kind of wrong on all levels. So weird. But here in the second house, don't be impulsive financially. Be careful of what you're buying. And don't buy anything definitely out of spite. Any kind of response, any kind of ego, gratification. Be careful with that, Pisces. But yeah, overall, very romantic transit, very romantic new moon. It might take a week or so before you actually see what it's about. And I think that there's an energy here of allowing others to come to you. So allow others to recognize your charms and your beauty and all these different things about you. So we have the Five of Swords. I like that energy, actually. Okay, so then we have the Ace of Swords. And then we have the Eight of Swords. So there's a miscommunication that's happened. This is maybe to do with Neptune going retrograde. Like let the stuff here. Maybe if I moved, see now because I had to make it pretty with the plants. That's much better. Okay, sorry guys. So it looks as though there's been fumbled words or miscommunication. So be patient with that. It is going to resolve. So there's definitely delays or miscommunication between you and others. I know you want to address it right away, but I think that on its own, it's going to a degree, clarify. This could also be with a prospective person that you want a relationship with, someone who you have strong feelings towards. And then we have the Queen of Wands, Sagittarius or Aries. You're talking to someone about it, and then you're really worried and anxious. Nine of Swords. That's Mars and Gemini. We're going to get a whole bunch of this year, Mars and Gemini. So we'll talk about that later. But King of Pentacles. It looks like maybe some of you guys have some crushes, and you have some deep anxiety about how things will go with that crush and with that feeling. There's a feeling here of, will they like me? Will they accept me? Or if you're in a relationship with them already or dating, like, if I tell them this, will they understand? It feels as though that you have someone around who you can speak with, somebody who can, you know, show you compassion, show you understanding. So that's nice as well. I would say just relax is here. This is the advice. Relax. Let it all play out. I don't think you can actually do that much in this situation. In other words, things have to be said. Things have to happen organically. Things have to happen on their own. So be patient with that. And yeah, so I really feel like maybe you like someone or you really want to achieve something. There's like a real hope here of getting past the post with something. You're very determined here. There's a lot of passion here. But with the new moon, it's just the starting energy. So it's going to develop and grow for a long time from here. So you don't have to win the race yet. You know, you can get to where you're going. It may have been like a weird start though. So if it's not love, it could have been an interview or like your first day on the job sort of thing, the first time you met them. You could have fumbled your words or put your foot in your mouth, you know, and then you're getting all sorts of worried about it. And also to do with money. Don't be impulsive at this time. Don't feel like you need to react, Pisces. It's going to work against you, okay? So don't do that. Don't just be patient, even though it feels intimidating. Okay, so next sign, let's see. Is anybody keeping track of the order? I think I did Cancer. Cancer. Capricorn, we haven't done. Hi, Capricorn. Welcome. Let's take a look at your chart. Capricorn. Okay, so Capricorn astrology for the new moon. So this is... Okay, so this could be something in which somebody has audacity. Basically, somebody in your life has the audacity to say things about you, and it's not hidden at all. It's really out front. It's up front. It's on the surface. It could be somebody who you find very frustrating and difficult to be around. There's also a new beginning and an addressing of that energy. This does not mean that this is someone who's close to you. The closer they are, probably the more powerful this new moon will be for you, because the more clarity you'll bring to the situation. But I could see you very annoyed by somebody's behavior, or there could be a shared animosity where that person's actually being outwardly hostile to you. This isn't to do with the new moon, but this is something that's been going on. This new moon may help you elevate the situation, work around, find another way around it. I feel like you just want to get away from this person. So, you know, maybe this is what you need in the new moon energy. The new moon is really good for love for you because it's in your 7th house of partnership. If you're in a relationship, this could be you working out your partner's really, really dark side. So if you're in a relationship and your partner has been showing you all sorts of goblins, you know, in their closet, you might be really working through that at this time, or facing them, or maybe some things are actually being shown to you about who they are. So pay attention. I think that this transit is actually very good for, you know, if you pay attention, it's a valuable life lesson that will help you to avoid a lot of pain and suffering, like years and years of pain. So whatever's coming up, you know, don't be upset that it's happened. Be glad that it's happened, because it's showing you what it could potentially have been without you knowing. So, you know, It is. Your partner could also talk to you, or someone close to you could talk to you about a really dark matter in their life. So they maybe disclose themselves to you in some way and share with you whatever it is that's hard on them. And that could really actually build a really good relationship. So for you, this new moon is definitely about building bonds and coming closer to someone, probably over something pretty dark. Otherwise, you're very annoyed with someone and you can't help but to get away from them. So also be very, very careful with this transit around the house or home. So don't like jump on rushing at things. Don't try to resolve financial matters of some kind, or, you know, just don't try to fix your house last minute in the cheapest way possible. If a person who's repairing your house in some way or something around your house shows up and they're giving you bad energy, especially if it's aggressive, don't let them in. You know, go say, I need to go in a different direction. So really don't take chances with this around the home specifically. You do have a very good transit moving forward with homes and buying a house, or, you know, all those sorts of things. So there is a lot of potential here, but I would say at this phase, be very careful. So, and it will get actually better once Saturn exits the second house, which will be early next year. So then Jupiter will be back in Aries and Saturn will be out of your second house, and then it will be a good time to buy a house or invest in your house. There might be, so right now you may be seeing the precursor energy, and so it might be a bit early to jump in to make money or find success there. But in 2023, early 2023, it might be a better timing for you, okay? So let's see your cards, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We have Hierophant, which is community, relationships. Community, relationships. Let's see what else we have here. Then we have the Strength card, a lot of Leo energy coming out. There's not much in Leo yet. We're heading into Leo season next, but for now, this is Taurus energy. We have the Moon, which is Pisces. There's someone in a friend group that seems intense or overbearing. There's someone around who is a lot to deal with, where maybe a lot of people don't know what to do about them. There's someone who kind of takes the charge and doesn't watch out for anybody else. And there's a lot of hidden feelings around that. I don't think you're the person that this is being felt about. Like, people don't think that about you. But I think you're in the group of people who think that about someone else. And I don't think you're not the driving force of it. You see their point, but I don't think that you necessarily are a part of it in any way. So I think that you think it's problematic, in other words. Then we have the Ten of Swords, that's Sun in Gemini. Something happened in Gemini season. Page of Wands. You want to get away from the situation. There's a bit of a mob mentality, and I haven't been online enough to show you guys or tell you guys about that. But there's like, ever since Mars was in Pisces, so that was like, what, March? There's been this ongoing mob mentality, witch hunt sort of vibe. And in certain situations, yeah, it was partly justified, but there was also just a real like, just pitchfork kind of energy. When I say pitchfork, like, you know, the townspeople with the pitchforks going to chase after someone. I don't think you like that. You may not like the person that this is about, that they're referring to, but you definitely don't like people, how they're justifying their behavior. So I think you're trying to get away from it. If somebody's trying to convince you to be on their side, see, that's Lilith energy right there. I think that you're recognizing that maybe it's true that someone's annoying, but also at the same time, you're very not into that energy towards anybody else. So there could be, and it could be around your home too. If this is happening around your home with your family, be very, very careful. Stay away from that. Your instincts are correct. So if this is like a family member who everybody's ganging up on, stay the crap away from that situation. This is going to get very hostile and volatile. And I don't think your disposition towards this situation or this person is hostile at all. If anything, you might be annoyed by them, or they may be a bit of a problem, but you know, there's other people are making excuses in order to be dramatic about them or towards them. And I don't think you're a part of that at all. So don't get caught up in the nasty drama or like the hyperbole, you know, like the histrionic behavior. Okay, so let's see. Because the people sometimes with the pitchforks are just as bad, if not worse, than the person who's being, you know, done over like that. And oftentimes it's women, which is another thing. So if there's a woman as a part of this, we've seen this happen this spring. A lot of women getting dragged, maybe some justifiably so, but there's definitely a layer of misogyny in there. Okay, so now Scorpio. Hey, Scorpios. I've reconnected with Scorpios and it felt so good. I had a couple clients who were Scorpios the last few days. Just so healing. Sometimes you are not in my life for a while and it's like, it just happens that Scorpio people are not around as much. And then suddenly you start coming back in and it's like, oh, that feels comfortable. You know, that feels good. So that's been definitely going on for me. So let's see this new moon. Okay. This new moon's in your 9th house. This might actually begin a pattern of where you will go next, what will you do next, that kind of energy. So that feels nice. That feels good. I don't think it's particularly, you know, over the top. Be very careful on tunnel vision or, you know, sure shot something from a distance, which means like if you met somebody online and they live 5,000 miles away from you and you don't have that much money, but you want to buy a ticket to go, like, be careful with long distance, not only relationships, but just don't overextend yourself too far for others at this time, unless you know it's solid. This will come up as something that's far-fetched. So if something in your life involving some type of distance is coming up that's far-fetched, it's likely that there's something coming up with that. Remember the roly-polies underneath from the introduction, the roly-polies under the wood? It's like we're getting glimpses of things. We're not getting, like, the roly-polies disappear. It's so funny. There's like 100 of them and then they just disappear without a trace. And that's very much this sort of sun over Lilith. We'll see glimmers of, you know, the wicked truth coming out, and then there will be, you know, silence again. So pay attention to whatever's coming up for you. And if something feels very far-fetched or wants you to physically go really far and overextend yourself, be very wary with that energy. You're in a very cool transit in terms of love overall. And I think that it's less on Venus and Jupiter and more on the North Node with Uranus. That will continue until August 1st. Well, that will continue throughout the summer, but it's leading up. You're leading up to an event around August 1st that's going to be very transformative for you. It will probably change you in some way, change your personality. And so that's when I see this new moon, I feel like there's something that you're reaching out to in the world. But then there's also a real like nuance of relationships coming up, relationships changing you, changing your like experience of things, or challenging you to be a bit of a different person. So very, very good energies to do with that. And overall, I like the South Node in Scorpio. You probably have one of the harder South Node transits in Scorpio. It really wants you to change a lot. And this will continue until June 2023. It's a real humbling process. Emotionally, like, just really work through your stuff. If you feel you need to or want to, go see a psychologist, go see a therapist or a counselor. I really like for like non-mental things. So if you don't have like a heavy mental thing going on, mental health thing, try a social worker, like an MSW. They're really good for like talking through, you know, problems and stuff like that without if you don't feel like you need something like that. But cathartic, you know, go talk to someone who's very insightful, put your faith in yourself, challenge yourself with this transit. And so this new moon is all a part of that. It's like where you fit in the world. You know, maybe it's far-fetched a bit, maybe it's out of your reach at this time, but it is dreaming. And there's this feeling that I've felt come up, like a download for a couple of signs now, that it seemed as though it's a little bit too soon to do something on the things that are happening. However, some of the things that are coming up now will actually remanifest moving forward. So I really like this energy. So you may be seeing something that's not for now, but later it'll come back around in a different form. So I like that. Let's see the next energy. So we have the Tower, of course. The Tower is Mars, so that rules Scorpio. So you get that card a lot. Change and transformation, Six of Wands. This is the Six of Swords. These are cards that I made, so sorry. I gotta fix it. And then we have the Strength card here. It really feels as though there could have been a blow-up situation with someone in a relationship. Things were said, and I just feel like you moved on to feel better in a different direction or with someone else. There's a Five of Swords, Page of Swords, and then we have the World card. See that something's very tempting for you in the world, and this is like there's Justice also, which is Libra, which is the card of Libra, which is more in the 12th house, but let's not touch on that. What I think this is showing is that you got really pushed away from someone pushed you away, or a situation pushed you away, and then you redirected your energy towards something that was actually very fulfilling. And then there's all this like torn feelings, torn emotions. Listen, if you're having a situation that in some way feels as though you're feeling torn or complex or mixed feelings about something, if your desire is just to break away and break free, if you feel you need to do that, do whatever you want. That's always my caveat. But it really feels as though don't run away from this situation. And just to be clear, there's two separate situations here. There's one involving like a personal exchange with someone, like a relationship or a family member. And then there's like nuisance energy that you're interacting with that's really draining you and complicating your mind, like Swords energy, like lots of, aggressive thoughts in many directions. So don't do this because of that, in other words, because you have a more core issue that you're trying to address. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater because there was another situation somewhere over there, if that makes sense. So don't overreact in this situation because it reminds you of another one or because it's similar in some way. Okay? So let's see the next sign. Scorpio again. Scorpio wants to know more. Heck yeah. Okay. Aquarius and then Pisces. We've done Pisces. I'm getting lost in Sagittarius. We haven't done. Hey Sagittarius, let's take a look at your cards. So Sagittarius, hello. Let's see your new moon's in the 8th house with Lilith. This could point to intimate problems with someone. If you're having intimacy issues with someone, there could be a lot of truth coming out about where and you and they stand. So it could be a vulnerable moment. But you have actually, who did I say? Aquarius had the best transit? I take it back. You have the best relationship transit going on by far. So you might be actually having a very deep connection with someone at this time. Through vulnerability, you guys bond. There could be like a transcendent moment. If you're single, there could be like a really understanding what you need from love and what you need from others. And if it's not romantic, you might be seeing like love show up in your life through friends and other people that care about you. But the change here has a lot to do with intimacy. It gets at the secret or the problem of a situation. If your partner is, let's say your partner is frigid about something, unwilling to take the next step forward, or is in some way like really guarded towards you with something. You might be actually coming to realize what that is, or they may be telling you finally what the situation is. So that's coming up. That's really being clarified. So that's exciting. I think for some of you guys, it might be actually harsh. So you might have heated exchanges with your lovers and partners. Or there may be just some heated words. Not all of it may be pretty. Not all of it may be what you want to hear. But you're going to hear the truth. And it is a powerful moment. I do think it's a powerful moment that's going to enlighten you or tell you, exactly what's going on. I think it's going to also really clarify what you need to do from the day to day. If this isn't romantic, it could be to do with people who you spend a lot of time with at work. So the writing on the wall may be at work happening right now. There may be like a real clarification of where you stand with things. Don't get too eager or too assertive at this time. So let's say you want to achieve something. Don't push for that too much, not because you shouldn't overall, but because of the energy there. Your attempts at asserting what you want may be misrepresented as bullying or overbearing. So it's better, you don't actually have to put too much energy in that direction. I mean, like concerted effort to convince someone to get them on board with you, because it's still going to happen on its own accord. And if you push too harsh, you might actually, like turn people off or make them feel guarded, because a push right now from you is a lot. So it's the transits that are causing it, nothing personal. Then we have the devil. Yeah, definitely there's a layer of intimacy issues going on here. So this could be like I don't want to get into the graphic sort of details, but yeah, there could be like things getting worked out. Also shared resources. So, if you really want to buy a house with someone, don't push too hard. Or if you're working out financial issues at this time, be very careful. Someone could be coming back also into the picture regarding money. So maybe if you had separated with someone because of financial reasons, they could be coming up with an offer. And at first it seems as though it's very excited to be here. Then we have the Emperor, a second chance at bat with a job or a career. Really, I have a feeling that you're going to put a lot up front into this. So you will instigate and say, hey, that's such a good situation, or that came out forcefully. Sorry, I'm just vibing. So you could be like, hey, this is what I want, or like, this is what we should do. And that can come across a bit intense. So allow other people to make the decisions for themselves. And then they will feel like it was completely self-directed, and it's going to be in your favor. So Hanged Man, I'm not surprised. So Hanged Man is ruled by Neptune, and it's in your 4th house. I just feel like you're being assertive for the purpose of a house. So maybe I just feel like you're being assertive to set up something in your house or get your house going in a certain way. And it's coming from a good place. But I think that you need to be careful with how much emphasis you're putting in that direction. So do you know what I mean? So it's like you're selling it too much. You're putting too much pressure into the situation. And even though it's a good situation, you may be overselling it, or it might be too intense. So be careful with that. Is anybody keeping track of the order of the reading? Because I'm getting a little lost, to be honest. Who have we done? Oh, Leo. It could be a Leo. Who asked that? Hi, Connie. So it could be a Leo because the Strength card is ruled by the Leo card. So I'm not sure. Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay. I wanted to show you guys, while I wait for someone to tell me where I'm at, I want to show you guys what I bought. I bought this secondhand. It's a lamp. So you guys know the rock lamps. Well, this, I think it's calcite. So I wanted to show you guys this. If someone can verify this with me, it doesn't have the base. I bought it for $5, which is so cheap for what it is. But if anybody can help me identify, I think it's calcite, right? It looks like calcite. And this is like true to color. So I'm excited to get a lamp for this. And I got it for $5, which is so cool for a crystal. It doesn't look like selenite. It could be. No. If it's selenite, it's like, maybe. It is selenite. Maybe. I want a second opinion. Let's see who can help me figure this out. Okay. If it's selenite, it's really dirty. Ew. Okay. So let's, so thanks, Connie. Okay, 1, 2, oh, so we're halfway through. Okay, cool. Now I know what's up. Thank you so much. It is very beautiful, but I just don't know which crystal it is. Okay, so Capricorn we've done. Aquarius we've done. Taurus we haven't done. Hey, Taurus. Sun, moon, and rising. Is a calcite, I think. Yeah. I think brown quartz is like a little bit too fancy. Okay, so Taurus, hi Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Let's take a look at your chart. Okay. Tauruses, new moon is happening in your 3rd house. I got a download for Taurus before, but I forget what it is, and it sucks because I wanted to tell you guys. I don't remember what the download was, but it was something very specific about how you're supposed to conduct yourself and how you're supposed to go about doing things. Let's just go. This was before I started the reading. I was like, oh, I need to tell this to Taurus, but I don't remember what it is. Okay, so new moon is happening in your 3rd house. This could be like the village gossip, the neighborhood gossip, this is like real, like truth being brought to some darkness. So if there is someone in your building who's spreading lies and whatever, or there's just like some dark energy from Lilith that's been hanging around, doom and gloom in your neighborhood, there could be a clarifying moment that arises. This could also be a balance of power in and around your neighborhood between like nice people and the not so nice people. So there could be a shift now towards a more positive environment. So if there's been people around who have been negative is such a harsh word, but like if somebody has been like intense or difficult or whatever else, then I feel like this is bringing light to the situation. So that's nice. And so that's the new moon, just some kind of environmental change in your immediate environment, in your community. And overall, you're getting ready for this conjunction, which is going to be at the end of July. So from now on until July, things are going to increasingly, especially when Mars enters Taurus, they're going to pick up for you in speed a lot. And so you're going to be going faster and faster to achieve certain things. For some of you, it's going to be very financial. And so this new moon in some way is a clearing of the way towards a more positive environment, the positive community or something like that. Let's see the next message. We have the Strength card. And then we have the Queen of Wands, a Sag, a Leo, or an Aries. Secondary transits in water. 2 of Swords, Moon in Libra. I have a feeling that there's an improvement, Taurus, between you and someone else. I'm so caught up with trying to remember what I was going to tell you, so I'm just going to move on from that. And when I remember, I'll tell you. Maybe I'll leave it in the comments if it comes to me. But to me, it seems as though a great improvement with someone else. I feel like you have a friend in someone, and that's really improving the direction you're going moving forward. Like somebody's bringing light. In this energy here, I wonder if Jupiter is not represented by the Queen of Wands. I almost feel like somebody's telling you gossip, not necessarily about you, but things pertaining to you, things that were said behind your back, and the truth is coming to you, and it's helping you figure out what to do. So you might have a double agent on your side. But the energy here is quickly picking up. Be very careful. The download had something to do with this. Be very careful with how you portray yourself to others at this time. Be very careful how you say to whom, what, when, and where, and why, because that is going to be careful with how you're perceived. There's good things coming up for you, and things are going to pick up. And I know that you're 100% present with the people that you interact with. This means that you're authentic with the people that you're with. But I think at this time, be a bit more guarded, not dishonest or disingenuous, but definitely be careful, because where you're going is very fast-paced. There's some real progress moving forward that you want to look forward to, and you don't want dead weight attached to you from past situations. So you don't want to get caught up in something where you're being too nice to others, where you're overextending yourself, and then their energy, or they come with you in this new direction where you need to focus. This Queen of Wands is doing you some kind of a favor. She's telling you something important, and it's helping you to really understand where you stand with others so you can save some time. Then we have the World card. You have Pluto at the top of your chart. This is a transit I'll never see in my lifetime, and it looks so beautiful at your MC. This could be major worldly success coming up for you. You have some, I don't really want to say too much so as to influence you one way or the other. I want your discernment about situations coming up is always the best, right? But I think that there's definitely some kind of like a breakthrough moment, a chance in a new direction, just some sure shot energy. And then we have the Sun, which is overcoming things, really good transformation. This is the first time the Sun has come up for anyone, so it looks as though you're being really it is being clarified to you exactly what is the situation that you're in. And that might cause delays, but you'll know exactly what they are saying or what their intentions are. This is like becoming friends with the person that works with your boss, and they keep telling you what the boss is up to so you can adjust your expectations. It's a very good transit. You're going to be well informed, very bring light to what the sneaky stuff's going on. Somebody likes you a lot, and you're getting when you have, how do you say this? Someone telling you secrets that your boss is saying privately, like prospects of a promotion or whatever else, projects that you may be on. Somebody who's relaying to you information about what they're intending. It's not against the rules, but they're kind of bending the rules because they like you. And that's a very favorable thing for you. It's a blessing. So count your blessings and use it while it's here, because these things never last forever. So while it's in your favor, whoever that is, cherish them, that their willingness to do that, because it's not that common that we get it, if that makes sense. So yeah, something's in your favor. And then also be very careful with how you convey to others your thoughts. I have a feeling that even when they're justified or when they're right, I think that you may say to someone something that then you will have to stand by later. Not responsible for later, but later when your situation's changed, you would have said that thing. So even though you may be saying it altruistically and with good intentions, I have a feeling that you should not be saying so much right now. Be very careful with how you assert yourself and so forth. The next sign is Leo. Hi Leo, meow meow, welcome to the channel. let's take a look at your energy for the upcoming, or the new moon that's happened now. We're just in the new moon energy. So let's see what's up for you guys. And sun, the Leo is ruled by the sun, so that's a nice coincidence. So your new moon is actually happening in the 12th house with Lilith. You're probably the one who's getting the deepest, darkest secrets on someone else. You're the one who's having an insight into somebody else's, like, real secrets, like really hidden stuff. You're getting like just really important information that is very hard to see. So with this new moon, I don't know how to say it any other way. There's just definitely, you're running by very valuable information that is not necessarily so accessible to anyone. Okay, so that's the new moon itself. And then very social time for you also. Speak your mind, share your thoughts, open yourself up to others. You're getting these really wonderful transits through the fall for socializing, for friendship, for making connections. I think less about partnerships one-on-one and more celebrating yourself with everybody else, like in a big party. Yeah, bringing a lot of attention to yourself in a positive way. It's a very nice energy. It's not like showmanship at all. It's like right now you are there for your friends, all of your friends, as opposed to one person. And when I say one person, I mean one-on-one relationships will tend to be heavy at this time. Well, the group may resonate for you better than one single person, if that makes sense. That doesn't mean that you will be alone forever, but I think at this time, your relationships with your group of friends really shine. This means that 5 of your friends celebrate you at a level that really resonates for you at this time, and you resonate for them. Well, you may experience friction, or you may experience standoffish energy with one person, the one-on-one. So this is what you're good at anyway, being in the open. And quietly, you are also hearing some things that are, it's very eye-opening. It's very like, so, a real shocking secret may be coming to you. Okay. So here is the next message. We have the Hermit. And then we have the Ace of Wands. And then we have the 5 of Swords. Somebody's going to tell you something, and I think you're going to be somewhat disappointed by it. This isn't like a personal attack or anything negative. Something's happening for somebody else around you that affects you. So let's say, for example, you have a person that works for you. They may tell you, I'm pregnant, I'm going on maternity, or I'm quitting my job, I got a job somewhere else. So this is like good stuff, the Ace of Wands, but it's not necessarily in your benefit. So you're like, oh great, thanks, now I have to hire somewhere, and now I have to, like, you're happy, it's fine, but it feels as though something's changing for someone else around you. And you're like, oh, okay, thanks. That's the 5 of Swords. Then we have the 2 of, they're very happy to tell you about that. So I'm sure your Leos are so good at celebrating with others. Then we have Hanged Man's coming up a lot because of Neptune. Neptune is stationing retrograde tonight as we speak. And so it's in your 8th house. There will be some changes moving like in the future in front of you. And then you have it's going to work out really well. It's just a transition phase. I think overall the big picture is that you're changing direction with some things. The 5 of Pentacles, it really feels as though like, yeah, it's just like an employee that you really rely on is leaving, or a friend is moving away, and it's for good reasons. There's no conflict here beyond the fact that you need them there and they're going. But I think overall the Knight of Pentacles indicates that for you, branch out, reach out to all these people like we were talking about in the astrology. And I think amid all that, like, what I see for you is like financial new directions. So maybe through the networking, you'll meet someone or there'll be some type of connection, but there's something there for you to look forward to. But it starts with this other person who's going away. They're super excited. There's this really cute couple on TikTok, and she's like heavily pregnant, 8 or 9 months. It's the sweetest TikTok I've seen. And he walks up to her with his camera and he's like, do you want to go do something cute and something sweet? And they're like, she's just so adorable. And there's like nothing, it's so wholesome and so genuine. And they're such a nice couple. And they're just so sweet. They're like very young. They're in their early 20s, I think. And there's just such a pure... It's such a pure TikTok. It's such a nice energy. So they go on all these dates and he spoils her. And there's nothing in it that's not wholesome or very bright and just loving and supportive. It's a very nice energy. If you're watching this, I think you're great. But yeah, so I don't know what made me think about that, but maybe that's somehow pertaining to you, Leo. And I hope you find that, if that's what that feels like, a Leo energy. They're both redheads, I think, both her and her partner. So yeah, so there you go. Leos, meow meow. Okay, so here is the next energy. I'm again, Aries I haven't done. I think Libra and Virgo are next, right? That's the only two I have missed. So I'm actually feeling very clear-minded. When I do the reading, sometimes it gets like very like dreamy or whatever. I'm super like sharp right now. Like I know exactly who I've missed and all of this. But yeah, I hope you... Oh, I saw Lady Lau. Thank you. I'm glad that helped. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, just getting back in the swing of things, but it's fun. So Aries is next. Let's see. Aries energy. Aries, I mean, you have Eris natally in Aries. So usually you don't have to see this transit, but here it is. If you've had a moment in which you lost your temper with someone this week, that's why. All week I've been talking to clients who have been saying, how do you say this? If you don't do astrology on a regular basis, astrology explains why at certain points in our lives we have a certain experience. And so these people have been coming in for readings, and they basically said, like, the astrology explains why it's been particularly hard, why they got angry, or whatever else. Now, it's never an excuse, right? Your actions are yours, and it's your choice to make them. However, astrology creates an environment in which it's really conducive to a certain type of experience. What I'm trying to say is Eris with Mars conjunction in Aries is like this environment in which, even if you're a mild-mannered Aries, if you're not very, explosive or angry or this conjunction would have gotten under your skin. So it would have been the right situation that got you lit. So in other words, don't let that lowercase t traumatize you. I'm not talking about trauma. I'm not qualified to talk about it. But don't allow it to shake you up and make you feel like you're going to be that way forever. So if you lost your temper, if you blew up at someone, you have all these transits here that involve Chiron and Eris and Mars. In other words, it hit you where it hurt, right? Whatever happened. And it just pushed a button. So if you had a moment of weakness here, that's what it is. But the new moon is in your 4th house. If you have blocks to achieving something to do with your home, if you have things in the way of something to do with your home, if you feel like you can't get something with your home because of somebody's bad energy, somebody's bad disposition, that person or that situation may be removed or adjusted at this time. So let's say that you have a really bad building manager who's crazy and hurtful and harsh and mean. That person might be getting removed, or there may be, suddenly things for you at home will increasingly be better. For the next few months, probably about 6 months or so, Lilith is still in your 4th house, but this new moon in some way will undermine any negative behaviors that somebody is directing to you around the house. So maybe it won't be a solution, but it will be a first step, or it will give you some way of dealing with that energy. So this is the new moon, in my opinion, for you. Something to do, and 4th house is always home and family. So this could be your mother-in-law who's been Lilith in Cancer. If you have it natally, tough transit. And even for all of us, it's deeply emotional. And as I said, we've been seeing this witch trial energy, women getting dragged with not so much compassion. There's a real pointing the finger at women right now. There's a real blame energy, sometimes justified. I'm not getting political, but there's real aggression towards women now, and that's Venus in Cancer. So you may be experiencing that energy in your home life, in your family life, where there could be people around you, like a mother-in-law, who's just giving you the hardest time. Something may come up at this time that will make it harder for her to do that. Although for the next couple months still, you might have to put up with her for a while. If that's coming up and it's never been a problem really before, it's likely caused by the transit, so don't worry about it, Aries. It'll get better. But still, Pluto is finishing up its transit of your 10th house. The final stages in your career of achieving something. You might be looking at promotions, and we'll talk about that more soon, but there's real opportunities here, especially with the North Node in Taurus pushing forward, and Mars is about to enter Taurus. So go be successful. Don't let it under your skin, and really focus on the tangible things ahead of you. These transits were really strong from 2019 to 2020. And at the beginning of this year, but they're sort of getting less concentrated now. So the high concentration was 2020 and 2019, and now it's become a little bit more dispersed, which is good. And so yeah, you're still getting those good transits for money and career, but they're not going to last forever. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Okay, so next cards. Oh. I thought I was going really fast, but I don't think I was, actually. So we have the Ace of Wands. I like the Ace of Wands coming up in the summer. Oh, Ace of Pentacles, opportunities. I think what I was trying to say is don't let other people cut in on your success. Don't let someone with harsh attitude, family, the Hierophant, community, make it hard on you. This could involve moving. This could involve a Taurus, which is what rules Hierophant. This could also be something to do at work, like things are getting much better. Things are moving along. Things are improving. Things are growing and expanding. Sun, joy, happiness. You're getting the best reading right now. Holy moly. Let's see the last one. Don't let it. 5 of Swords. So it looks as though you're glowing up. 8 of Wands. Your life is looking up, and it looks as though someone close to home has been having a hard time with it. There could be also, and I'll be honest, with Mars here, Aries, and Chiron, really be careful with how you assert yourself with others. Mars is about to leave this position, so you won't have to worry about it as much. But especially when you get in your ego, especially when you get in your hurt feelings, don't be too assertive, because that will come across in the wrong way, not the way that you want. I think that this is a transit. These transits are really good for tangible things like work, getting things achieved. In other words, don't get caught up with your social relationships so much, with the drama associated with them, with the problems other people are throwing at you. You have a lot of success to look forward to. And I think that focus on that instead of focus on the interpersonal. The interpersonal will come around, but I feel like there could be begrudging, jealousy, you know, coveting, people want what you have, all that kind of stuff. You're sort of at the top in terms of success, in terms of where things are going for you, and people feel that, and so they may be giving you a bit of a hard time. So people are being resistant because you have what they don't, right? Essentially. So don't get caught up in like basic games from people that don't deserve it. All right. So I think we have two to go, right? Libra and Virgo. Am I wrong? Somebody tell me in the comments. I like the dice. I just did it organically, but Virgo and Libra left, I think. So Virgo's next. Hi Virgos. We haven't done you guys in a while. I'll do individual sign readings now, but I needed to get back on track with it. Okay, so hi everyone. So let's see. Virgo's next. Sun, moon, and rising. Okay, so Virgo. This could be a dispelling of a frenemy in your social group, which means that someone's not really your friend, Virgo, and the truth is about to come out. This is especially true for long-term things. Like you've had a friend group for a while. Lilith is there, and she's been spreading rumors about you, and she's been working her hardest to undermine your success. But with this sun-moon conjunction, which is the new moon, there could be a lot of truth coming out. Also, Jupiter is sextiling Venus in the 10th house, which is often career, but it's also associated with like your status, right? So you're getting a big like moment of a glow up here. You're getting like all the attention and positive attention at work. I just feel like the light's shining on you in a positive way. So you are being perceived well. And you are being, who was it? I think Beyonce dropped an album right now, and she's just so cool. Like I've been seeing more stuff about her come up on social media, and she's just so Virgo. Like when I see her, I'm like, she's the quintessential Virgo. She has it together. She presents herself well. She's always meticulous, but she's like down to, I just really have a lot of respect. I'm not a fan of hers. I think she sings well, but I'm not a huge fan of hers. And but yet at the same time, I was really impressed at how she conducts, like just respect, you know, like I think she's really cool. So it's that kind of Beyonce energy where, you know, she conducts herself well in all situations, and her reputation precedes her. You can't really say much bad things about her. And when people say bad things about her, they kind of come out funny because it's kind of like it has to be a conspiracy theory or something, the ones I've heard. Again, I don't know much about her, but to me it's that Virgo energy, and she is a Virgo, I know that, so that's why I'm kind of picking her out. But this energy reminds me of Beyonce a lot. It reminds me of, you know, like people going like, gee, I really like that Virgo, or that Virgo's never been mean to me. I can really, really trust them. There is that the energy that you want others to see about you, people are seeing. So I think that that's very nice energy. That's what I see a lot of here. And so there's a lot of you asserting yourself, Virgo, here about who you want to be and how you want to be perceived. This is your time to speak from the heart. This is your time to share others what makes you uniquely you, and share that. So you're getting the microphone basically, and you're telling others, this is how I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I want you to see me as. So oftentimes in life, it's other people talking about us, right? So this is where people are paying attention to you, and they're like, oh, that's Virgo. Okay, so I like this. So this is a great time, you know, to tell people what matters to you, to kind of show yourself to your boss, show yourself to your friends, show yourself in your career. It's not showing off, but it's like show of yourself in this energy. So don't hold back, Virgo. This is a time to assert yourself. And I think that a lot of like this energy of people working against you, or this kind of, it's really going to take a hard hit over the next while. And what I mean is resistant people to, and I think Virgos have had a fair bit of that. Aries has been in our 8th house since we were born. But I think that there's a real energy here of you don't have to prove yourself, but it's like you get to bring in others on what it means to be you, and they see you for you instead of any other interpretations, which is cool because it's like, you know, clarity, right? This is what's important to me. It's like telling people I love this or I love that, and people hear it and they resonate with it. So it's a nice energy. You come across very clear to others at this time. 2 of Swords, Moon in Libra, 4 of Swords. That's like Saturn in Libra. And then 10 of Swords, which is Sun in Gemini. Those are pretty intense cards. You're about to make some kind of changes. Time to let go of something because you've been doing something to sort of pass the time until you can do what you want to do. So free will sort of energy here. Free will as you're not going to abide by, or you don't have to go by what other people want you to do. Maybe you've been doing other things to go along with what is going on. And now it's a time for you to sort of branch out and do it your own way. 3 of Swords here. Hold on. 3 of Swords. It's the King of Pentacles is you, Virgo. It could be representative of a person in terms of relationships, but this is like, you know, when it almost feels like, look at this High Priestess on the bottom. It feels like you've been going along with their agenda, but they've by them speaking their agenda and setting their path, they've sort of dug themselves into their ways. And so basically they like took that rope and used it on themselves. Like they just sort of created this mess for themselves. It doesn't have to be messy, but the point is that they have, it's almost like when you're discussing something with someone and they discuss something too much. So they assert their opinion too quickly or too forcefully, and then they have to hold that position because they've made too strong of a statement. And then you know that they can, and you're free because you sort of held back. So in other words, with this 10 of Swords and 3 of Swords, people around you have shown their true colors, and you have played along with their game, you know, of setting things up. And now they are dealing with the consequences of their actions, and you're sort of free to live as you are meant to live or as you want to live. So in other words, it's kind of harsh to see other people show up in this way, especially people who you like or who you cared about. But I think that you were patient and you let them play out their mental game, and now you can set this record straight all by yourself. So it's a very good energy. It's been tough, and it's been like a lot of waiting and a lot of other people talking over you, and you've been quiet. You've let them talk over you, and now it's like, okay, so now it's my time to talk. And then it's a very, very good position that you're in here, Virgo. It's I don't know if that makes sense, but to me, it seems like whatever like your husband has said too much to you, and you just let him rant and ramble and say this and that, and you're like, okay, well, I want a divorce, and I take half or whatever else is I'm entitled to. It's like the other person said too much, and you just let them say it, even though it may have been hurtful to hear it or see it for what it is. It just really clarified your position and gave you freedom ultimately. And it doesn't have to be a divorce. It could be something like, you know, a coworker grabs all the cool jobs around the office to do, and you're like, fine, take it, even though maybe you wanted to do it as well. And then something really cool comes up, and they're overworked. They have commitments to the things that they kind of took, and you're like, okay, I'll just do this then. And it's kind of like, you know, the awesome stuff. So I think that some good things are coming your way right across the board that way. Again, in terms of relationships and other things, there could be a lot of confusion right now, Virgo. So I'm understating it. There could be a lot of, I think this is a time for your independence, and being overly reliant on another person's discernment may not work in your favor at this time. I'll just say it point blank. I think that this is stand up on your own and attract the people that your genuine disposition is meant to attract. Okay. So last but not least is Libra. We made it. Hi guys. So yeah, they just said too much, right? So thanks for stopping by. Okay. So Libra. There we go. Correct me if there's any other sign that is waiting for their reading. Okay, so Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hi, Libra. So your new moon is in the 10th house. This can actually mean that if somebody's been ruining your reputation at work and in your career, there's going to be a clearing of that obstruction. It's not that that person will be brought to justice or something like that, but it may be that your way forward is going to be made clear. Either you prove them wrong and there's some clarity that's coming out about you. If you've had a bad reputation, or if you did something that was very embarrassing at work. Like I've done stuff like that. Like you say something embarrassing and then it's like, oh shoot, what did I say? And so that whole thing that was attached to that energy of you, you know, speaking out of turn or saying something awkward, getting angry, or embarrassing yourself in some way, or someone else working against you, this could be really good. If there's someone at work who's causing you a lot of trouble, this means that somebody's like talking to your collective boss and just bringing bad things towards you. Or if there's a boss who's stopping you from growth, this is a time in which those things may change. Either that person's authority may change, or you may not be responsible to them anymore. So there's a real here nuanced energy of blockages in career being removed. Also, you have a pretty nice transit of Jupiter entering your 7th house. This will continue more into the fall and next year, but we're getting a bit of taste of it. I like it here because you may have had some volatility with regard to love in the last month or so. It may have become, if you're in a relationship, it may have become a little hostile. There may have been some harsh things showing up. Jupiter here is going to like even things out. So there could be another energy stepping in, or maybe everybody's coming to their senses and sort of approaching things from a better perspective. So definitely like a healing energy in partnerships is coming up as well. And then that's sextiling your Venus. For some of you guys, you may be having change of heart about work, career, not work, career, relationship stuff. So if stuff to do with relationships has been a bit rough with the Mars, Eris and Chiron thing going on here, that might be leveling out, but you may also be thinking about a different direction in love altogether. So even if you're single, this applies to you. You might be just really rethinking things through, thinking things through on a different angle. And in August, when Mars enters into Gemini, then you are going to get, like, that's when action is going to happen, Libra. So the ideas may start now and they may actually play out by August. Okay, so let's see your cards. Wow, this went really well today. Thanks for being here, you guys. That was really fun. Okay, so it was a real, I didn't want to complain, but it was a real grind to get here. Not in a bad way. I feel really great. It was just, I really had to gun it to be here. Okay, so we have 7 of Wands, and then we have the Devil card. That's our Capricorn energy right there. So that's Pluto in the 4th house. Defensiveness at home. It really feels as though for some of you guys, especially in relationships, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you might be feeling as though there's hostility in relationships, partnerships at home. Family issues may feel overbearing at this time. So again, with the energies that are here, and I probably didn't explain this very well in the astrology, there's some really good energies here, but there's some real hostile energies as well. So Lilith, you know, and Aries, they're just hostilities. And so there's a lot to look forward to astrologically in this energy, but there's real like harshness. Oh, and I forgot the North Node Uranus-Mars conjunction at the end of July. And so there could be some, for all of us, nuanced hostilities, and you want to be very careful how you entertain those, how you spend time around them. They are going to increase through the end of the summer, so it's best for you to be cautious and don't engage it. So let's say your boyfriend's grumpy, right? Your girlfriend's grumpy around the house. That might lead into some pretty big fighting by the fall if you don't tread lightly now. So be very gentle and don't be pessimistic. Good things will come of it, but I think at this time, be very careful with the people closest around you, their humor and their emotions or whatever. Hermit mode time, yeah. You may have had to say something to your partner or people close to you that was harsh, delivered like the bottom line to them. 10 of Swords, Sun in Gemini. And then we have the Page of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. I really feel like many of you guys have had to assert yourself to people close to you. So in other words, you may have had to like lay down the law with someone, not the literal law. And I think that maybe this is suggesting that like a little consolidatory encouragement, somebody's hiding behind closed doors. So maybe you've had like a run-in with your partner, or there maybe haven't been some tension with a friend or something like that. Reach out to them, Libra. You know, benefit of the doubt. If it's a coworker especially, they may, you know, with this Lilith transit, and this applies to everyone, it can make everyone act crazy. You might get angry. You might, you know, just be hostile in ways that you're not normally. And most of us have a degree of hostility in us, mild hostility, but we don't lead with that on an everyday basis. So it feels really weird when you get angry or hostile or whatever else. So you have to realize that if somebody's been crazy around you, they might be feeling very humiliated and they might be very scared of like how they just behaved. So what I'm seeing here with Lilith, it could be like an influence energy. So with the Page of Cups, a little kind words to someone who's been acting a bit nuts or whatever else has been going on, they may actually do a whole lot of good and really smooth out the situation. So if your boyfriend got angry and said something regrettable, or your girlfriend said, and they're grumpy and they're hiding, they may feel extremely humiliated by what they said. So give them the opportunity, maybe open the door, ask them to go for a walk. Maybe some truth will come out. I'm not, you know, if somebody's being hurtful, then don't enable it. But, you know, relationships, that's how relationships work. So somebody might be feeling shut down because they're embarrassed for their behavior. Okay? You guys, thank you for being here. It did take 2 hours. I thought it would be faster, but thank you for everyone who was here. Connie, you did awesome. Thank you for being here with me and doing this new moon reading. Happy new moon to you and everybody else. And I'm back. So